Let's be honest for a second. You didn't just stumble upon this moment by accident. This isn't the result of some random algorithmic lottery or a way to kill time while you're bored. There is something far more profound at play here. Consider the mathematical improbability of you being exactly where you are right now, focused on these specific words in this specific sliver of time. It is staggering. This convergence isn't luck. It is a direct result of quantum synchronization. Your consciousness, the deep, knowing part of you, sent out a signal. You broadcasted a frequency, a desire for truth, a need for an upgrade in your reality, and the universe rearranged itself to place this message directly in front of your eyes. By simply engaging with this, by choosing to focus your attention here, you have already initiated a process of collapse. You have taken a wave of infinite probability and anchored it into a specific reality that is designed to unlock your next level of evolution. This is not just a video or a text, it is a mirror. It is a feedback loop from your higher self, confirming that you are ready to see behind the curtain. The most potent force in the known universe isn't found in a particle accelerator or buried in ancient texts. It is happening right now, behind your eyes. It is the silent, invisible, yet thunderous power of your own observation. If you click away, or if you treat this as just another piece of digital noise, you risk missing the single most vital key to operating your life. You risk missing the manual for existence itself. We are talking about how manifestation actually works, not the fluff, not the wishful thinking, but the mechanics of how consciousness utilizes you to knit the fabric of reality together. This is where science shakes hands with spirituality. We are standing at the precipice where quantum mechanics validates what the shamans, mystics, and seers have whispered for millennia. The observer effect is not just a quirky principle of physics to be studied in a classroom. It is the operating system of your life. It is the code running in the background of your relationships, your bank account, your health, and your peace of mind. You are not merely a passive witness to the movie of your life. You are the projector, the screen, and the audience all at once. You are the observer. The electric feeling you might be sensing right now, that subtle buzz in your awareness, that isn't just excitement, that is resonance. It is the sensation of a dormant program coming online. It is your system remembering a capability it has always had, but forgot how to use. Everything you are about to absorb is encoded with a frequency designed to bypass your logical defenses and speak directly to your field. We are about to recalibrate how you see the world. We are shifting you from a passive perceiver, someone to whom life happens, into an active creator, someone through whom life flows. You aren't here to learn something new. You are here to remember something ancient. It has been hiding in plain sight, so close to your face that you couldn't see it. You have been looking for complex rituals and secret formulas, while the master key was the way you were looking for them in the first place. Let's dive into the mechanics of this magic. Quantum physics has already settled the debate. Observation is not a passive act, it is a creative act. When scientists conduct the famous double-slit experiment, they find something that shatters our conventional understanding of the material world. When particles, the building blocks of matter, are not being watched, they behave like waves. They are fluid, existing in a state of pure potential, occupying multiple possibilities at once. They are everywhere and nowhere, but the moment a conscious observer measures them, snap, they instantly collapse into particles. They become solid. They choose a position. The act of observation literally forces the universe to make a decision. It forces the infinite maybe to become a definite yes. Now take that concept out of the lab and apply it to your Tuesday morning. You are doing this every single nanosecond. With every breath, every fleeting thought, and every glance, you are collapsing waves of probability into the solid facts of your life. You are a walking, breathing, wave-collapsing machine. Here is the terrifying and liberating truth. Most of the time, you are doing this completely on autopilot. You are observing your reality unconsciously. You are running old scripts, fueled by habit, conditioning, and belief systems that you didn't even choose. You are collapsing the wave of today so that it looks exactly like the wave of yesterday. You wake up, you expect the same stress, the same limitations, the same emotional tone, and lo and behold, the quantum field obeys. It delivers exactly what you anticipated because your expectation is a form of observation. You think you are just watching your life unfold, but you are actually observing it into existence. Because you are doing it without awareness, it creates a persistent illusion that reality is something fixed and solid that is happening to you. It makes you feel like a victim of circumstance. But the most powerful shift in human history happens when you realize you have been the one holding the remote control the entire time. You have been changing the channel with your mind, but you've been sitting on the remote. The ancient mystics encoded this into every scripture and oral tradition. As you believe, so shall it be. That wasn't a moral command. It was a statement of quantum law. Your beliefs act as the lens through which you observe the world. If you believe the world is hostile, you observe hostility, and the quantum field collapses into conflict. If you believe you are unworthy, you observe scarcity, and the universe hardens into poverty. You are literally manifesting what you seek by the very act of looking for it. The kingdom of heaven isn't a place you go to when you die. It is the realization that the power to mold reality sits within your own consciousness, right here, right now. It always has. You aren't trying to acquire this power. You are trying to wake up to the fact that you are already using it. You've just been using it to build a cage instead of a cathedral. As you engage with this information, your observation is already shifting. Can you feel the subtle change in your perception? The way you are viewing these words is changing the words themselves. You are activating. Why is this shift so critical right now? Because we need to understand how we fell asleep at the wheel. How did we become unconscious creators? Observation in its purest form, like the way a baby sees a spinning mobile or a cat watches a falling leaf, is pure, unfiltered presence. It is raw awareness. But as we grow, we develop layers of unconscious filtering. We stop seeing the world as it is and start seeing it as we were taught it is. The first layer of this slumber is biological. Your brain is a survival machine. It is designed to burn as little energy as possible. To do this, it recognizes patterns. Once it labels something safe, dangerous, boring, it stops really looking at it. It just projects a memory of that thing onto your present reality. This is great for not getting eaten by a tiger, but it is terrible for manifesting a new life. Instead of observing the fresh, raw potential of the present moment, you are observing a memory. You are overlaying the past onto the now. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. You observe your partner, your job, or your bank account expecting them to be the same as they were yesterday. This expectation acts as a command to the quantum field. Keep it the same. And so, the probability wave collapses into the same old pattern. You confirm your own bias. You say, see, nothing ever changes. But it didn't change because you didn't look at it with new eyes. You trapped it in the amber of your past expectations. The second layer is cultural. We are trained from birth that the world is out there and we are in here. We are taught that to change reality, we must move matter with our hands, force outcomes with our words, or struggle and strive. We are taught that seeing is believing, but the quantum truth is the exact inverse. Believing is seeing, and seeing is creating. Nobody taught us that observation is a creative act. This lack of education made us lazy observers. We think, if I'm just watching, it doesn't matter how I watch, but it matters more than anything else. If you observe unconsciously, you create unconsciously. This is why you might feel like you are on a hamster wheel, repeating the same relationships, the same financial struggles, the same emotional loops. It's not because you are cursed. It's because you are observing the world through a dirty lens. Then, there is the emotional conditioning. Trauma and pain create the thickest filters of all. If you were hurt in the past, your brain creates a filter that scans the horizon for that same pain, trying to protect you. But in the quantum realm, scanning for pain is the same as inviting pain. By looking for rejection, you collapse the wave of rejection into your reality. By bracing for failure, you solidify the path to failure. The filter creates exactly what it is trying to avoid. You think you are protecting yourself, but you are actually projecting your nightmares into the physical world. There is another layer, perhaps the most insidious one, the addiction to the familiar. Conscious observation takes energy. It requires you to be awake, alert, and present. Unconscious observation is easy. It is the path of least resistance. It is sinking into the couch of your mind and letting the reruns play. Your nervous system loves efficiency, so it defaults to the automatic pilot. But efficiency is the enemy of evolution. To change your life, you have to be willing to exert the effort of awareness. You have to wake up and pay attention. The system resists this. It feels like swimming upstream, but that resistance is just the inertia of your old self dying. There is also the belief that I am small. We think, I'm just one person. How can my observation change anything? This belief is the padlock on the cage. Quantum mechanics obliterates this idea. The universe is not a collection of separate objects. It is a unified field, and you are a focal point of that field. One conscious observer is more powerful than 1,000,000 unconscious sleepwalkers. Why? Because the conscious observer is interfacing directly with the source code, while the sleepwalkers are just interacting with the user interface. When you wake up and observe consciously, you are accessing the command line of reality. You stop being a character in the story and start becoming the author. None of this is your fault. You weren't given the manual. You were taught to be a passive consumer of reality, not a producer of it. You were conditioned to filter everything through the judgments of your family, your culture, and your past. No one told you that your attention is the currency of the universe. No one told you that by withdrawing your attention from the old patterns and placing it on new possibilities, you could starve the old world and feed the new one. Think back to the moments when you were truly alive. Maybe it was during a crisis, a moment of extreme beauty in nature, or deep in the flow of creativity. In those moments, your filters dropped. You stopped thinking about reality and just observed it. And what happened? Time distorted. Synchronicities popped like popcorn. The impossible became possible. You felt a connection to everything. That wasn't a fluke. That was you accidentally slipping into conscious observation. You were collapsing waves with intention, even if you didn't know it. Now, our goal is to stop making that an accident and start making it a lifestyle. We want to turn that peak state into your baseline setting. So, how do we know this is working? How do we know we are shifting from the autopilot of the sleepwalker to the command center of the awakened observer? There are signals. These are not badges of honor or items to check off a to-do list. They are natural side effects of your consciousness beginning to observe itself. This is what happens when the camera turns around to film the cameraman. The first signal is a palpable shift in responsiveness. When you look at a problem, a knotty situation at work, a conflict with a loved one, and you do so with complete neutral conscious presence, it changes, often right before your eyes. The hostility drains out of the room. The insurmountable obstacle suddenly develops a crack where the light gets in. This happens because you stopped feeding the problem with the energy of your problem expectation. You withdrew the fuel of your old story, and the quantum wave had no choice but to collapse into a new configuration. The world becomes fluid. It feels less like concrete and more like clay. The second signal is an explosion of synchronicity. This is the universe's way of winking at you. When you are lost in the dream of unconsciousness, life is linear and logical. But when you wake up, life becomes poetic and rhyming. You think of a book, and someone hands it to you. You need an answer, and a stranger says the exact phrase you needed to hear. This is not random luck. This is your observation harmonizing with the field. You are no longer fighting the current. You are becoming the river. The probability waves that serve your highest good are collapsing effortlessly because you aren't blocking them with your doubts and fears. The third signal is strange but profound. Your memory of the past begins to shift. We tend to think of the past as a statue carved in stone, but in the quantum realm, the past is just another set of probability waves. As your vibration changes in the now, your perspective on what came before shifts. You might remember a traumatic event, not as a tragedy, but as the necessary catalyst that woke you up. When you change the meaning of the past, you literally change the past's effect on your biology and your timeline. You are rewriting the backstory of your character in real time. Then there is the phenomenon of future knowing. You start to get hits of intuition that are startlingly accurate. This isn't magic, it's physics. Time is a construct. Past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously in the quantum soup. When you are conscious, you are lifting your head above the maze of linear time and seeing the whole layout. You remember the future just as easily as you remember the past, because to the conscious observer, it is all happening now. Let's go deeper into the signals because they are your compass in this new territory. The fifth signal is that you become a broadcast tower of peace. People start treating you differently, even if you haven't changed your haircut or your clothes. They treat you with more respect, more kindness, more openness. Why? Because unconscious observation feels like judgment. When you look at someone with your old filters, they feel defined and confined. But conscious observation feels like love. It feels like space. When you look at someone without a story, they feel free to be their best selves around you. You literally observe the best version of them into existence. The sixth signal is a radical decrease in reactivity. The things that used to make you explode in anger or crumble in fear just don't. You see the trigger coming, but instead of the automatic robot reaction kicking in, there is a gap, a pause. In that pause, you stand as the observer. You watch the emotion rise, peak, and dissolve without ever becoming it. You realize you are the sky and the emotions are just clouds passing through. This detachment is not indifference, it is power. It is the ability to choose your response rather than being a slave to your programming. The seventh signal is a dreamlike quality to life. Things feel slightly less serious and heavy. You might catch yourself laughing at things that used to stress you out, realizing how absurd the cosmic drama is. You sense the pixelated nature of reality. You understand that the solid world is just a very persistent illusion, a hologram that responds to your touch. This lightness is the hallmark of spiritual maturity. And the eighth signal, it is the fact that you are still here, reading this. The quantum field does not make mistakes. If this information has found you, it is because your frequency is a match for it. Your soul effectively typed "how to wake up" into the cosmic search bar, and this is the search result. Your consciousness is ready to stop playing small. It is ready to recognize its own reflection. We are about to shatter your assumptions about what observation is. It is not just your eyes taking in photons. Observation is the interface between the formless and the form. It is the bridge between the unmanifest and the manifest. When you understand this, you stop trying to get things from the world and start realizing you are projecting the world. To truly grasp this power, we have to look at the double-slit experiment again, but not as scientists. We need to look at it as creators. When the electron is fired, it is a wave of pure possibility. It could go through the left slit, the right slit, or both. It is a ghost. But the nanosecond you look, it becomes a bullet. It chooses a path. The observation created the reality. Now, understand this. You are constantly firing electrons of consciousness into the slits of your life. Every morning you fire the "how will my day go" electron. If you observe it with dread, you collapse the wave into a bad day particle. If you observe it with wonder, you collapse it into a miracle particle. The potential for both exists simultaneously until you look at it. Most of us are looking at our lives through the lens of a microscope, dissecting problems, analyzing failures, and so we get more microscopic problems. But what if you looked through a telescope? What if you looked through a kaleidoscope? The instrument of observation determines the object observed. Scientists often get stuck thinking the measuring device is the camera or the sensor. But who is reading the sensor? A human. Consciousness is the ultimate measuring device. A camera without a human to look at the footage is just a machine recording data in a void. It takes a conscious mind to interpret the data and collapse the wave. You are the alpha and the omega of your experience. This implies something revolutionary. There is no objective reality out there. There is only your reality, created by your observation. This sounds solipsistic, but it is actually empowering. It means you are not stuck. If you don't like the channel, you can change the frequency of your attention. You can choose to observe the abundant version of your finances. You can choose to observe the healed version of your body. These versions already exist in the quantum field as waves. They are waiting for your eye to make them real. Let's get practical. How do we change the quality of our observation? It starts with the realization that reality is not happening to you. It is happening through you. You are the aperture. If the lens is is dirty, the picture is blurry. Imagine looking at a person you have a conflict with. Your unconscious observer sees them through a thick layer of past arguments, insults, and hurt feelings. You are literally observing the enemy version of them. And because you are observing that, they subconsciously comply and act like the enemy. You are locked in a dance of mutual creation of conflict. Now, imagine shifting to conscious observation. You drop the history. You look at them as if you have never met them before. You look for the spark of divinity within them. You observe them with curiosity. Who is this being? By holding this new gaze, you collapse a different wave. You might find they suddenly soften. They might say something kind. They might apologize. You shifted universes simply by shifting your gaze. This is the secret. Reality is a mirror. If you frown at a mirror, it frowns back. You can't force the reflection to smile while you are frowning. You have to smile first. You have to observe the reality you want before the physical evidence appears. This is where most people fail. They say, I'll believe it when I see it. But the quantum law is, you'll see it when you believe it. Right now, check your own observation. How are you reading this text? Are you reading it with skepticism, looking for flaws? Or are you reading it with openness, looking for gold? The text is the same, but the value you extract from it depends entirely on your observation. You are creating the wisdom of this message by the way you are receiving it. This isn't just theory for me. Years ago, I found myself in a hospital bed, the perfect captive audience for the universe. I was broken, in pain, and stripped of all my usual distractions. No phone, no work, no identity to hide behind. Just me and the white walls. In that silence, I accidentally stumbled into conscious observation. I had nothing else to do but notice that I was noticing. I began to observe my pain rather than being my pain. I watched the sensations like a scientist watching a storm, and something miraculous happened. The pain changed. It morphed from suffering into just intense energy. It lost its grip on me. Then I experimented with the staff. I observed the grumpy nurse not with judgment, but with deep, compassionate presence. Within minutes, she was bringing me extra blankets and sharing stories about her kids. The reality of the hospital room reorganized itself around my new frequency of attention. It wasn't a miracle. It was mechanics, cause and effect. I realized then that I had been a lazy observer my whole life. I had been letting my fears dictate what I saw and therefore what I experienced. I decided to test this on everything. Traffic jams, observed with peace, they cleared up or became enjoyable times of reflection. Financial stress, observed with trust. Unexpected checks appeared. Difficult people, observed with love, they transformed. The pattern was unbreakable. Conscious, unfiltered, present observation always collapsed waves that served my highest good. Unconscious, fearful, automatic observation always collapsed waves that perpetuated the struggle. I wasn't special. I was just operating the machinery correctly for the first time. The profound realization is that observation isn't something you do. It is what you are. You are not the body. You are not the thoughts. You are the awareness in which the body and thoughts appear. You are the screen on which the movie plays. When you identify as the screen, you are no longer afraid of the movie. A horror movie cannot hurt the screen. A fire in the movie cannot burn the screen. You are untouchable. This is true freedom. When you observe from this place of identity, I am the observer, your power amplifies exponentially. You are no longer trying to manipulate the world from the outside. You are rearranging it from the inside. This is the path of the master. It is simple, but it is not easy. It requires vigilance. It requires you to catch yourself falling asleep 100 times a day and gently waking yourself back up. Am I observing this or am I lost in it? That is the golden question. So how do we embody this? The first key is metacognition. Catch yourself in the act. Throughout the day, stop and say, I am observing right now. Pull the camera back, disengage from the drama and watch the scene. This instant of detachment breaks the karmic loop. The second key is dropping the filter. Try to see things fresh. Look at your hand. Really look at it. Not as my hand, but as a biological marvel of geometry and energy. Look at your street. See the light, the shadows, the texture. When you look without labels, you allow the universe to show you its magic. The label boring street collapses a boring reality. The lack of a label allows for infinite possibility. The third key is curiosity over conclusion. Conclusions are dead ends. I know how this ends. He is always like that. This is a disaster. These are conclusions. They seal the quantum envelope. Curiosity, on the other hand, keeps the envelope open. I wonder what good can come from this. I wonder how this will resolve. Curiosity keeps the wave function in superposition longer, giving the universe room to surprise you with a better outcome than your limited mind could imagine. The fourth key is observing the observer. This is the ultimate recursive loop. Close your eyes and ask, who is listening to these thoughts? Then, listen for the listener, feel for the feeler. This turns the consciousness back upon itself. It acts like a laser beam, intensifying your vibratory rate. It is the spiritual equivalent of nuclear fusion. The fifth key is selective attention. You get what you focus on. It's a cliche because it's true. If you focus on the lack, you observe lack, and you create more lack. You must become a disciplinarian of your own attention. You must starve the problems and feed the solutions. This isn't spiritual bypassing. It's strategic energy management. Why invest your quantum currency in stocks that are crashing? Invest in the reality you want to grow. The sixth key is intentional observation. Don't just look. Look for something. Set an intention before you walk into a meeting. I am observing for collaboration and breakthrough. Now your radar is set to collapse those specific waves. You are hunting for the timeline you prefer. The seventh key, and perhaps the hardest, is non-attachment. You must observe without gripping. If you are staring at a pot of water, screaming at it to boil, your energy of lack, it's not boiling yet, actually slows the process. You must observe with a light touch. I prefer this outcome, but I am open to better. This releases the resistance and allows the flow to happen. Now, we must discuss the trap that catches almost everyone. It is called the quantum lag. You start observing consciously. You hold the vision of abundance. You feel the peace, and then nothing happens. The bank account is still empty. The partner is still annoying. You get discouraged. You say, this doesn't work, and you go back to sleep. But here is the truth. Physical reality is dense. It is slow. The quantum realm is instant, but the material world is like cold molasses. When you shift your observation, the change happens instantaneously in the energy field. The seed is planted, the wave has collapsed, but it takes time for the physical pixels of your life to rearrange themselves to match the new blueprint. This gap, the time between the shift in observation and the shift in manifestation, is the quantum lag. It is not a denial. It is a delay. It is a buffer period. It is actually a mercy, because if every fleeting negative thought manifested instantly, we would be in big trouble. During the quantum lag, your only job is trust. You must trust your observation more than the physical evidence. The physical evidence is just a printout of your past observations. It is old news. It is the echo of who you used to be. Do not let the echo distract you from the new voice you are projecting. If you plant a seed and dig it up the next day to see if it has roots, you kill it. You have to water the dirt, knowing the seed is working in the dark. You have to maintain your high-frequency observation even when the world looks the same. That is the test. That is the fire that forges the master. If you can hold the vision through the lag, the breakthrough is inevitable. It is a law of physics. The reality must catch up. This journey you are on is not solitary. It may feel lonely, but what is happening to you is happening to the collective. We are in the midst of a massive evolutionary leap. The human species is transitioning from Homo sapiens, man who knows, to something new, Homo spiritus, man who knows he is spirit. We are moving from unconscious creators to conscious architects. Rupert Sheldrake talks about morphic resonance, the idea that when enough members of a species learn a new behavior, it suddenly becomes easier for everyone else in that species to learn it. It's the 100th monkey effect. By doing this work, by waking up your own observation, you are uploading a new template to the cloud of human consciousness. You are making it easier for your children, your neighbors, and strangers to wake up too. You are a pioneer. You are hacking through the dense jungle of unconscious conditioning so that others may follow the path. When you refuse to react with anger, you lower the collective temperature of violence. When you choose hope over fear, you inject a vaccine of possibility into the collective bloodstream. The old world is crumbling. We see the chaos, the breakdown of institutions, the confusion. This is not the end. It is the breaking of the shell. The consensus reality, the shared dream we have all been dreaming, is dissolving because so many of us are waking up and withdrawing our consent from the old nightmare. We are no longer agreeing to observe a world of separation and suffering. We are beginning to observe a world of unity and potential. There comes a point of no return, the irreversible shift. It happens when you have seen too much to ever go back to sleep. Once you have tasted the power of conscious observation, unconscious living tastes flat. It feels cramped. It feels like wearing shoes that are 3 sizes too small. You might still have bad days. You might still fall into a funk, but you won't stay there. You can't. You now know that the funk is just a cloud, and you are the sky. You know that you have the tools to shift out of it. The ignorance is gone, and with it, the bliss of ignorance. Now you have the responsibility of knowledge. This shift changes everything. Your relationships change because you no longer need people to validate your reality. You are generating your own. Your work changes because you stop striving for success and start attracting it. Your health changes because you stop observing your body as a decaying machine and start observing it as a regenerative vessel of light. You begin to live in a state of quantum reflex. Your automatic response to life is no longer fear, it is curiosity. Your baseline setting is presence. You become a walking vortex of high-frequency energy, and the world responds. Doors open that didn't exist before. The right people find you. Life stops being a struggle and starts being a dance. We have talked enough. Concepts are useless without experience. Theory is just a map. We need to walk the terrain. We are going to do this right now, not later, not tomorrow, now. I want you to stop reading for a moment. Take a breath. Look away from the screen. Look at an object in your room, a chair, a plant, a cup. First, look at it with your old eyes. The label. That is a cup. It's familiar. It's dull. It is just background noise. Feel the flatness of that observation. Now shift. Look at the same object, but look at it with conscious observation. Realize that you are a field of awareness encountering a field of energy appearing as a cup. Look at the light hitting it. Look at the space around it. But most importantly, notice that you are noticing. Feel the you that is behind the eyes. Feel the presence that is looking. Do you feel that shift? That slight electric hum? That sense of aliveness? The object seems to pop. It becomes high definition. That is the observer effect in real time. You just collapsed a fresh wave. You just injected life into that object. Now turn that gaze inward. Observe the observer. Who is feeling this? Don't answer with a name. Answer with a feeling. Rest in that awareness. That vast, silent, powerful presence. That is the real you. That is the creator. That is the quantum self. Hold this state. Memorize this frequency. This is your home. This is the place from which you create empires. This is the place from which you heal bodies. This is the place from which you change the world. You are not a victim of a chaotic universe. You are the universe becoming conscious of itself. You are the space in which the stars spin. Every time you choose to observe from this place of power, you vote for a new reality. You collapse the wave of a new Earth. The most powerful quantum observation in history is not happening in a collider in Switzerland. It is happening in your living room. It is happening in your mind. It is happening right now. You have the codes. You have the manual. The sleepwalking is over. The awakening has begun. The question is no longer, is this real? The question is, what will you create with it? Will you observe the past, or will you observe the potential? Will you be a recording device, or will you be a director? The choice is yours in every single breath. If you are ready to expand your consciousness and step into your next quantum leap, subscribe now, leave a comment below declaring, I am the observer, and share this message with someone ready to awaken. The shift is here. Welcome to the new reality.